Well, that wasn't good, Cosmo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. You can blame RC Guy Garage right there for this. I saw he had a couple on his channel. I always wanted these. I kind of forgot about them. But, yeah, I went on eBay and found one. And, yeah, it's kind of fun. It's something goofy to have around here. He doesn't like it when you stack 3 cubes, so he'll knock them over because he can't stack them that high. All right, everyone. Today on the bench, we got to get the Felony on here. We got some tuning up to do on it. See, look, he's doing this all on his own. I do have a tablet that kind of control that you can interact with him, but for the most part, he's just doing this on his own. All right, let's get the Felony on the bench. Whoa. This thing is huge. Yeah. All right, so I do have new tires for this. I don't want to put them on quite yet because, you know, this car just heats up tires. So I think we're going to go out, have a shred fest once we get everything fixed on here. And then, you know, we'll see about burning these tires down. But I'm going to get rid of the Traxxas connectors. I'm going to go ahead and convert it back to an IC5. Now, understand, when I bought this car, this was like my first Arrma. I didn't have any Spektrum batteries. I only had Traxxas. And to go ahead and buy 2 3S batteries and then a charger would have just really added a lot to the cost of a card. And these things are already pricey as it is. So it was cheaper for me to do this. But now that I have Spektrum batteries, look at how tiny these things are. Wow. Compared to the tray. I wonder, I don't think this thing can do 8S, can it? I don't think it can. I'm not sure. I mean, man, this is some... Nah, I think these wires here would be bigger if you could. Oh, man. Look at that. So, yeah, not only that, I got to fix this telemetry wire right here. Gee, I wish I would have left more of that on there. Dang. So that's going to be fun to solder. I'm going to have to cut some of this heat shrink back, and we're going to have to get in there and add a wire. You know, you got the capability of doing telemetry. You may as well utilize it. So let's dig into this a little bit. So I have a question for everybody. Like, if you've been watching anything on the Lozi Pro Moto, have you been getting like a lot of dirt bike stuff on your channel recommended now? Because like I keep getting all this stuff for dirt bikes now, and I really don't have any interest in real motorcycles anymore. Or I can't say not real motorcycle, but real dirt bikes anymore. You know, when I was in high school, yeah, I dreamed of that stuff. I mean, I started out on a little 50cc dirt bike, and then we had enduros, which are like street and dirt. It's kind of like what my dad could afford. Something he could fix up and we can use. They were actually old Triumphs. Triumph 250. He had a 500 trail. So that's what we rode. You know, I keep getting this stuff for dirt bikes now. I don't think YouTube understands the difference between the Pro Moto and real dirt bikes. I'm just interested in RC stuff. So, also, fun fact: did you know in the beginning of the my intro, when you hear that car start, it's actually my car. It's my 2017 Camaro. Yep. That's my car. So it's actually the next day I had to stop and I had to order some power wire to make the jumper between these two. This is all that I have left from the original one. It's not very long, and if you look, once you bend this thing, you know, these 2 battery terminals won't have very far at all to go. So I got the new wire coming here, and what I did is I used the Vendetta as a guide as to how much to cut off. I just copied what was already in there because the Vendetta now has a very similar setup as this. So I can't believe I didn't have it. You know, for years I did car audio stuff, and I have all kinds of 8 gauge, 4 gauge. I have all kinds of stuff. But I could not find any 10 gauge anywhere. It's weird. So, is what it is. So, now we can go ahead and proceed with doing this. So I usually don't really like talking when I solder. Usually just like to kind of concentrate on what I'm doing, but we'll try it here for a minute. I really don't have that much to talk about. I had something on my mind when I started this, and now I can't remember. I probably should have pinned this a little closer so I can put more pressure on it. There we go. Now it's finally starting to take some of that solder. I'll tell you what, man, when the first time I did this, well, it's not the first time I've ever soldered. I've soldered before, but the first time I did these battery connectors, I really didn't know that much about flux. Ooh, man, what a difference. Putting some flux, which if you don't know, that's this stuff right here. It really helps the solder kind of absorb into what you're trying to do when you're doing something, these big connectors like this. You really need that, you want that solder to get into there. So I took a tip from our good friend Earl at Earl Moorhead Racing, using the vice grips to hold this connector down. Just that, trying to use that other piece that I had, it just wasn't working. Unfortunately though, look at it, it's causing a bend here in the wire, and I don't want to hit that on the soldering iron. Hopefully that'll be okay there. Okay, yeah, we need to get some solder in here. Let's get this thing heated up. That flux melting. There it goes. I should probably have a fan on here so I don't have all this solder blowing in my... There we go. Now it should just be a fairly... Dang it, man. See, the reason I want this instead of what I was using is because you kind of have to push this wire into the connector here. It's ideally the best way to get it. So kind of push it in there somewhat. Ooh, that's getting hot. Dang. Melt that thing, because now hopefully it won't have a hard time holding this. And guys, don't forget to put your caps on here before you solder. Like for this one, it wasn't a problem. We'll let that cool off before I put that cap on there. Hopefully it'll... So if you're curious, to me, I think the best way to do this, so you make sure you don't short anything out, take your positive, solder to the positive of one terminal, take your negative, solder it to the negative of the other terminal. With these IC5s, it's kind of easy. The positive is flat and it has a little plus. The negative is round. And then that's going to leave you 2 terminals. Those 2 terminals are where the jumper goes. So that kind of makes it easy. You don't really have to think much of positive to negative, negative to, you know, what you need to do to make all that happen. Just take your positive to positive, negative to negative, and then, like I said, the remaining 2. Oh man, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to, like this, I have to go through this connector now to make this happen. So let's, now you just give it a second to harden up so you don't end up with a cold solder joint. Remove that. Clean off our soldering iron here. Get all that gunk off. Turn it off. Let's move it over here because it's hot. Cover up my flux, my solder. I do have a window open in here, so it is something. Now we're just going to make sure that that's not touching anything. So I'm just going to move this over just a little bit. Moment of truth here. I'm going to plug it in and see what happens. Awesome. So okay, so next part in this process, you guys might have noticed I had the DX5C here. One of the reasons I got that remote was to have everything on one controller. So we're gonna go ahead and bind that to here. Alright, so we're going to go here to model, select, add new, create. So now we're going to go down here to bind. We're at 11 milliseconds, which we want to be. And we'll leave that there and bind for a second. So we hold that down. Power this on. Alright, now you're supposed to be a little bit away from here, so we're going to hit bind. Is binding. It's hard to tell. I have this very same receiver. I just put in Vendetta and it didn't need to be calibrated. But it could have newer software, I guess. This one does need, so we're going to have to rebind this again. So let's try this one more time. So because the Pro Moto went to take off, I got this on the stand. So we're going to hit bind. Okay. So let's see if it doesn't. Alright, see how the light goes off. Full reverse, neutral, turn right, turn left. And there it went. It just centered itself. Ah, there we go. We got it bound. Let's see if yep, we got that. So now it's just going to be up to me to, let's turn this off. I'll go ahead and do the settings in the remote to go ahead and get everything dialed in. So I do want to point out that, you know, you should still be careful when you're using the drill not to go too fast, because you're only in the plastic. And if you really ramp that thing up, you can get the threads hot and you could damage it. So if you watch when I do it, I'd still go very slow, taking the threads in and out. And I usually try not to use the drill to tighten But if you do buy one, make sure you get one that's like this, that has a clutch. Now I can drill with this. It does go straight to full on, but I found number 2 to be a good spot for going into plastic. So, yeah, I melted this piece. That's not sitting on there. I do have some heat shrink coming, so we'll go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention on the battery, I was reading both the telemetry on both batteries, so that's pretty cool. So what I didn't show is I just went through and checked all the screws through here that I can reach. Pretty good. I went underneath a couple over here somewhere. I think probably on this, the center diff. Oop. Underneath were loose. As far as like the larger screws, the 2.5, anything that was a 2mm on the bottom was fairly loose, surprising amount. So just routine maintenance. Keep an eye out on this stuff, which is pretty much what we're going to do here. We're just going to go ahead and go through here and make sure everything's still nice and tight. Man, I got the new hoons, but dude, these things are stupid expensive. Try to get as much as I can out of here, out of these things. So we have not taken this car for a run since I started making this a full-time RC car channel. I don't even know if before, I guess yeah, maybe before I actually did a video. I did a speed test on this out of the box. I do not have the speed pinion in here. I don't. This is just factory out of the box the way it sits, except for I cut the Spektrum connectors off and put Traxxas because that's the batteries that I had. But now that I do actually have the right Spektrum batteries, may as well utilize them, right? Because then I get the telemetry and all that other stuff. So I think these things work best, yeah, if you put them in backwards and then you plug that in. That keeps everything nice and tight. So I need to actually take these inside, charge them up. So there we have it. I guess that's all the maintenance that we're going to be doing on this thing. Man, this thing's a beautiful vehicle, man. I do love this one. It is nice. It is well put together, and it is a blast to run. It really is. Alright, so you can see it's dark outside. So while we wait for the sun to pop up, leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you outside to go run this. Alright, let's make sure the trim and all that's set. Yeah, it's definitely going off to the right. There we go. God, thing's a beast. It's so freaking loud. It's gotta be the loudest RC I have. Still looks like it's pulling off. Yeah, it's still. God, this thing's fast. I don't think it's as fast as like the Vendetta right now. I think this thing runs about 65 or so, 60, the stock gearing. We need to turn that Turn the ABC down when we want to do this sliding. You hear how loud this thing is? Listen to that. So it's fun, but the only problem is this just eats up the tires. Ah, it's so loud. No smoke, but I mean, not only does this thing have like the styling, the looks, I mean, it's just cool. It's got this noise about it that it's a fun car, it really is. All right, everyone, I apologize, this video is really long. I'm working on trying to get these things shorter. And I know that when I'm in the garage and I'm like working on the cars, I'm like, hey everybody, I'm adjusting, you know, I need to try to pick up the pace, be a little more lively. So I apologize about that, but it's a work in progress. Working on this. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Felony. More with this car and everything else to come. Like, shares, comments appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't, and hope to see you on the next one.